Today I show you how you can create dialogues in iOS and in Android. So the dialogues will look like as usual in other systems, just above the other screens. Just look into it, how it works. So this is the dialog, and then we close it. Similar one in iOS, and we can close it. So let's start with the iOS version. Okay, so the first thing what you need to do when you want to make a dialog is that you need to create a dialog sheet or dialog window, dialog scene in the storyboard. So this dialog scene is basically a simple view controller which is designed on a way that it will appear above the other screen which is calling that dialog. So for that you need to create the view controller just like here, and then inside the view controller you need to create a view, a very simple view. So it's just when you click here and you take the view, let's go down, where is the view? Here, so this one, you bring it on the screen or on the display you want to create this dialog view, and then this view will be the background of the dialog. So now I created this here, and then I made the constraints to the side of the screen. What is important to mention here is that, as you can see, that behind this area the original view should be visible. So it should give the feeling that this dialog is above the other screen, so it's just related to that screen. And how you can make this is that you are basically not showing the view controller as normal, so as a normal view controller on the full screen, but you are just hiding the view itself, or the background of the first view, so this one which is covering the full screen, you are hiding as an invisible layer. So here what you need to do is that this view, which is the background view, so what you need to do is that you need to make this view invisible for the screen. So this should be completely transparent. So if we say default, then there is no background, and then it's basically invisible for the view. Okay. Then we have the dialog view. Here the background we set to white. And what is also important, that the view controller should be presented over the current context. This means that the previous view, or the view which is loading this view, should be covered with this dialog view, and when we will present it, then only this white background view will be visible. The rest will not cover the original screen. So what else we are doing here, just to make it a bit nicer, that we are adding two things. At first, the dialog view itself, so this one, we linked to this variable here, the dialog view, just because we would like to make it a little bit nicer. So we are making the corners during the load function, or view did load function. We change the corners to a radius, or with the radius which will be 25 points or pixels. The other thing, that we want to close this dialog, and we don't need to do anything else, just we need to link the button what we also placed on the dialog sheet to an action. Just one problem, that okay, now it should show it. Okay, so this is the action with the touch up inside. We'll call the close dialog function. So when we run this application, or before we run this application, we should go to the view controller just to see how we are calling it. So we have this open dialog button on the main screen, and when we press this button, then it will perform the SIGU, which is called show dialog. So this will be this SIGU here, so the show dialog. And then we will present it modally, which will means that that we can only have user interaction on this surface. Okay, so let's run it, and we should see what we were starting with. The application with the orange background and with the open dialog button. Just wait a moment until it loads. Okay, so now it's running, and when we press the open dialog, the SIGU is called, and you can see that this dialog is nicely appeared with an animation, and we can close it again and close it. So just to show the original style of it, so if we would not add the corners, then the dialog would be a rectangular thing just like this. So it's definitely nicer when you have the corners. Okay, so that's about the iOS version. As you can see, it's pretty simple, but it can also cause some headaches if you don't aware of the main thing. So what I just mentioned, so present over the current context, make this view, the full view background transparent, and then make this one whatever color you like, link it to the view controller as a variable, and then make the corners here with this. Okay, so let's check it on the Android version. Oops. Okay, so let's stop it for a while. Okay, in the Android version it's a bit more difficult to create a dialog. The main reason for this is that Android has this has its own dialog function, which you can basically build inside an activity or build inside a fragment code. So basically you don't need to create a separate individual view controller to make a dialog. But how you can do it, that at first you need to make a layout. So here you can see I already created a layout, and in this layout you need to have at first a layout here, the constraint layout, which should be sized to a size what you want to have the dialog as the size of the dialog. So here you can rely on this one, but of course you can also make this kind of not interactive but related to the screen size. So if you want to manipulate it, then you need to check what is the size of the screen, and then to set up the size of this this layout here with this with the size of the screen. So you can define that maybe the screen size is X and 70% of the screen should be filled with this dialog. So here you don't need to deal with the actual transparency. You just need to use this layout what we created here for the dialog itself. So what we need to do as well, of course, we need to put on the dialog the controls, and we have a close button, and we have a text which is showing that this is the dialog size. The tricky thing here is the background creation. So if you want to have a similar kind of effect, what you had in the iOS version with the rounded corners. So let's see here. You can also see not that much visible, but you can see here that the corners were rounded. And how you can do this, that you need to define for the layout itself a background, and this background should be created within the drawable section of the resources. So here in the drawable, and how you can create the background, that you define a new resource file, drawable resource file, and then you say here that it will be a shape. So we are just creating a shape here, and we call this this file whatever name. Here I called it dialog background, but of course you can name it as you wish. You can define that what color is that, and so on. So this I'm not creating because it's already there, but if I'm opening it, then you can already see that it's a white background with some corners. So how you create it, when you create the new drawable with the shape, it will be with this content here without these additional let's say parameters of the shape. So what we need to add is that what we want to have in the shape. So it will be a solid shape with a color. In our case it's a white color, and then we need to define the corner. So here I define 15 dots for the radius of the corner. So when you go to the presentation mode, you can already see that this is here a little bit grayish, and you have here the corner. So then you go back to the dialog, and then at the layout, constraint layout, you need to add this background here. Okay, so once you come here, then you can select this dialog background shape, and then this will be the background of the dialog itself. So now, as we will call it from the first fragment, so if we go to the first fragment, wait a moment, where is the first fragment? Okay, fragment first here. So as you can see, I just made it similarly like the iOS version, so an orange background and the button on it. So we will click on this button later on, and we called it open dialog button. So once we go to the fragment definition, then we have the open dialog button inside the on view created, and then we are binding this open button, or the open dialog button is bind to the fragment. So now we can add the set on click listener to check when the button is pressed, and then we will call the show dialog. I put it in a separate function just to have it clearer in the code. So what we need to do is that at first we need to bind this dialog fragment or dialog layout into our fragment definition or dialog definition. So as you can see that there is a dialog fragment binding, which is basically taking the dialog fragment layout, and basically it's kind of serializing the elements into this variable, and then we inflate with a layout inflator. So basically this dbind will contain the dialog itself as it is described. So then we define a dialog. So the dialog will be dialog, and we need to add which context is using it. So it's basically used by the main activity, to have the context, because the fragments are not defining their own context or main context. We need to link it to the original main activity. Then we need to define what or how we want to create the dialog. So basically, we don't want to have a kind of let's say a designed dialog as it is created by the system. We just want to use the view itself, or that fragment what we created with the constraint layout layout itself, and this layout or this rectangular area will be the window itself. So we need to say to the system that this will be a window without a title. So this is how you can create this feature, or how you can create the dialog with this feature. Then we need to make sure that the background of this window or dialog window will be transparent. Why it's needed? Because if you are not defining this, then the whole area will have a background, and then you will not be able to see the corners. I will show you later on how it would look like if you don't add this line and you are not making the background completely empty or invisible. Then we say that the dialog should have the content with from the dbind root. So basically this inflated dialog should be the content of this empty dialog which is created by this line here. So then after this is done, the dbind, so where we have the binding of the elements inside the dialog, now can be called. Actually, after this dbind function, it could be called already, but it would not be visible on the screen, of course. So here we are adding the close dialog button, set on click listener, and then we will just close the dialog with the dialog dismiss. So this will make the same thing how it appeared. It will disappear from the screen. And then we don't need to do anything else, just to make sure that the dialog itself is shown. So when we reach this point, the dialog will be visible. Okay. So then basically we already have everything together, and then we can run the application. So let's run it. Okay, it's here actually. So then open the dialog, it's visible, and you can see the rounded corners with the 15 dots size, and then we close it. Open, close. Okay, if you want to have any function inside, and then you can do this on a similar way like in a fragment. Just you need to make sure that that you handle these things inside the element which is controlling basically this dialog. So just to show you that what would happen if we would comment this line out. So let's run it again. Okay, and when we run it, you can see that even if we had the corners defined, it's invisible because the background is the same color, it's white. So you need to make sure that you make this background invisible, otherwise it would really look very ugly. So if you had maybe the color black or whatever color, then this color would appear behind the corners, and that would not be what we want basically. So yeah, that's all. I hope you enjoyed the training about dialogs, and don't forget to subscribe.